Sorry about that. Second happens. Greetings, everyone. Today we're going to read Dinotopia. It is a rare book. At first I thought my camera was on, but apparently there was a mistake calculation. So I have to reread the book again. Although luckily we're in that show. Centuries and a half ago, Sir Richard Owen found the word dinosaur named Completely in the terrible great desert. 3 times since then, the earth has caught 3 bones faster than dinosaurs. Between our necks, upward, young and old, tiny qualities, bones, young muscles, and skin to climb. Filled with excess skin, which had moved in the centuries of bone. And benefits made a previous tenant and being straight to leave and long of the land. And the book you hold in hand, the dog shit and guys, check the gears to the road, measure the real, based on Washington, but the rest of the other than which is insane straight and unconscious. Nearly a year has passed since I first made this discovery. First by chance, I was tracking down some information about the spice trade China. My eyes fell upon a curious little monster. University library of urban manuscripts. Mike and Dave have all been popularized, but first you've been studying together. At first it seemed to just be another sketchbook. Then I opened it to where I know I'm really into our then my Arthur William Dixon, Ian found the wild adventure, discovered our last I lost on the page through the library and one before the wall, and I had to look. The book had been captured. Our damage on the road. The great old work of a man and a boy, sickness and hunger, freshman to the pain, and the sun bitter found, bittery, ominous, extra, watchtower bird, being painful. The John people measured him. This was impossible. Those stories had disappeared over 65 million years. Long may is like what? When sketchbook version, I found out these information I don't put in fact is informed. Having left my ship in Slayer 98, I will begin with the rapid curiosity internet. How about a schooner adventure from Paris along the whole man? Save only my son, Will, myself. We have been 2 years. We parted in Boston. On a night my son, we sit down and locked in his car. We were sailing on the uncharted water. We heard we struck suddenly for it. It could push the to the atmosphere, but straight down, round and all the glare and glow. So, nearly 10 times. I do all the period of the well, I can see the same thing. Less of a one of the underdog materials, one of the things the line of the city, less land, and the rock, probably in the park. I love this very good book. Not my my shoulders are stiff, equal, well believed. The search for the short line for the scientist ship sadly failed. But we did find a way to make the fresh water stream to enter a really good. Dolphins followed our movement to the very low. Sea world, we could chat. More pictures of the atmosphere, very better. We followed it well. Over bridging, things moved for the all at once. Good answer, so Father, listen. We watched on this jungle came a surely fellow I should say fellow in. They decided to wait and remain quiet and alert. Or there are neither escape from much sun. Enthusiastic. Access symbolism in circles would like parrot who like of recent wet word or last week of size of heavy rock waiting to become the way where everyone would strike together along angles and squeal. So they respond which second gender within the boy features according to the model. That's basically knows as well. Besides the start driving cars without truly moving from the speed of the switch side, the creatures around us display the movements forward and front chaos down on the law. Defending us ideally and able to defend the rest of the now set down living and class and federal rights known as dinosaurs. I had just thought that the stuff thought fresh, local and apparently I know what not what. My other opinion, young girl and so little use opposed to entering comfort and beautiful with the I turned to the source who gave the girl. She spoke of course was used language because I spoke the meaning here, both witnessing and second. Speaking of Sylvia, you should welcome back because she had showed the world the problem came to share the internet. It seems to me that the great fun for that. Meanwhile, I kept good at it until I heard the great story. I've got so much memory. Watching the they call me listening to the book and it's legend. Both well known, only from a while, but from shop to shop with Everest, we set out to create a parent office. We hear that seemed to be the only brothers of life. Together, trying to do it to be up ground, much like it, 2 hours long, behind one of the many places, not others, one of 3 or 4 months. The girl is part of large ranch where you see other girls resemble more than them. That's what I already got. I did my assessment that this feature recently witnessed allowed the girl to create a fix what degree the effect of alternative to love with herself. Scientists Melanie, her parents, her name is Sylvia. Sylvia. Parents are Shio Boba, and mother, Maria Murray. Thanks for the work with the documentaries. I must say, it's not good food like in your manner. Murray, thanks for having the work with us to the very this but other than as far as I can tell, the documentary research was the one really today in the countries are certain parent with babies keeping them on this is their beds in bath and all that. Not knowing how sick feels passionate Gia Gordon must have been simply beside us from the great memories. Hurry me, I washed my clothes, read solid the story, and offer motion, company and state of a local and wisdom. Breakfast and people to the this phone breakfast, Alex, what's your way? Who's making seems to search for Mary Rowan's dad for local laddies, point being young, since he made the big brothers, 15 other us, which would have been famous history and then appear in 50 generations. Some of 400 years. They may have been spared in the breakfast was he's nobody, but this gentleman I learned that we are on and not and not they're not looking serious. Separate men and women who don't see it they don't. Don't you start at all the way. They consider America not the people and their comments don't exist as such that we want to be part of war. There's a Sylvia. The hatchery perched every turn for decades. That's different. With eggs, based on the day where the hardest waves for vertical pattern, pipe organs with the hormones with resting chambers with the big black ink incubation with the honey bread or even eggs on these ones. Human thinking, spirit versus wild four times as well as quarters, usually playing by condition. Stay away from it and serve hours of society hours and nonetheless most scholars would believe the age of is one of the way at the end. Shorten before the house remains. Puppets help the babies and when parents models. One for the stars is enjoy their visit months, other visit months. Short shade, children and some Julius are practical, both of us are children and favorite dinosaurs. Overworked human parents are unfortunately the habit of the dinosaur daddies. All see dinosaurs, nannies. So the days have passed since my last trip. Happy news my teachers from the last figure out shoot and full script notebook with monster story. Find one of the records I wrote along the back of all the paper. Explain the method for reliability. I was walking to the sun, and always something with every change about the accessible, even if it meant that digestion, pain, nanny, to a herd of young dinosaurs. While I continued to study the items of which English apparently been playing with the more rapid study design that Mr. Moses had of Sylvia. She must take the native of railroad, he didn't know how to do it himself. Sylvia was in charge. All the young men who were off the country, company together even longer country. Our crew host had packed up with me with each passenger as a row. I flew about the little going actually new theories described to communication. This is the legend of Saman. Most of the plan like remarkable and given no share in his relation. Shiakoa now that no is a human figure of the department just as Virginians were surrounded by impossible bullies, seeking fighting men, a Caribbean heavy navigate, you know, navigate, unable to navigate. There is so no way and more and overwhelmed, especially attention based on what possible. Sudden this was good. Such teamwork regiments in a shout with however I must be had several reasons. But then time has come. Gia Jora has been watching the world and keep herself in the known as Blood Trail. So been more effective than part of the better than I was. There whispering of the we arrived later in the works. We vehicles we've been days on the road while the velocity after the blood, bloodshed, even then, however, organization on I don't want to read this part. This part though is all about dinosaur poop. They use the poop to mix it. They use it as make plants and all that like dinosaur garbage. Now this is what they count. The book is a beautiful story. So many dinosaurs. Baby dinosaurs. That's mustard. They say all right. After science, this is a message. Maybe small dinosaurs. And that is what messengers everyone today and somewhat like a king carrying pigeons. The human power decided to work and save stuff. And the garage, he questions. It's hard to read the word. To tell you the truth, I do not know how to read these words very well. That's one of my weaknesses. I can't read these words very well. I'm trying. This is a fancy writing. Perhaps and all day above the streets of the city, going over between the 7 and 12 measures, Covered every street market around the wonderful fair, Paris restored the salons garden, and yet I thought we did but most of the commerce display gathered darkness and more brighter colors, which still were accompanied by the more banter, which hurried breath of courage and sense. So I would the responsibility of getting food when shared over by himself. Lost needed a guide, or the fact I made I am new to in the years of doctor of the young told him I was right. Never I security the one who was used to the I thought this was good for me and me. It was better. Oh, he's terrible. I don't think the spirit is ready today. We're all clear. Cautionary. Oh, they're dumb. Like me, I'm a slag man. Escape from the northern last day, the last book, my good friend, my good spirit. But God, so much of my son, I have been down in my heart, factory town, as we come to the first of the day, we left the stand from the road down, and the street, and the carrying on the picture, chasing with grace and through the heart, it's the crowd, and the not for me, where the moment of being in the present of the people, I don't know where the present is, I believe this is another story. My favorite. I have to have drink breaks, you know. Tap, seaweed, watch, green, press, and diet. Doesn't naturally take the pride of their strength. Do not take it down on everyone. When it weighs on the public health, those who are and share the public health. In short, if I can't read the words, I'll just show you the picture. On a recent confidence, that's the word, reason for was against Julius the giant waves finally able to find the pasture. The little buffaloes could see them, and water vessels fell cabins from all around. Along the grass trying to find trying to make it we probably never see it or anywhere else. And we get started with most of our viewers there's a trend somewhat older heard about this she intended to be adventure. Usually it's very long, hard to do. How is this going to work? One woman's went through this is a very heavy book, guys. Book is so big. Some days ago, thought about the parents were but indeed, a little green breakfast swooped out and carried again back green bubble breeze. Skybox riders read this month upload small saddlebag mini outfit. Maps different medicine, toys, box snacks for latest news. And none but Bird himself dared to approach him. That's that. The box. That deeply heard was that which many things is deep sickness. Both cold and pepper saved him from the written doctor. One road and survived by carrying good food and doctor. Talking over generous waiting but not as well. So yeah, they're a little broken. They're just smaller. Skyward Bridge is support for delivering the old when the front of the show turned ice with the supermarket well architects. They're waiting to go from the waterfall city. They was special and because it's a small island, 1 of our hours. Sure of it. And the second part that's the way they show it here on the night with the flames and the see? I love reading. And it's quite new to read. No going just golf and back. So well, you come in now distances for a little while. And the company away. And they find the pilot. The next thing is a golf back. The first book will walk right into the street. The tree farm, Pacific Park, the other people practicing part of the valley, just down the road by Arthur. Your son is reaching out for responsibility. He must make one learn. He's right in front of many. Looking forward straight to the sun. First one to do certain purpose. He came out of the box and every vision and on the wall for sure. What can you do? I think focus earlier. I'm very well. But I'm not prepared to see the conflict. He pointed out the years being it's the same one. It's the same dinosaur that they attacked when they were surviving in the jungle. Although it's the other one. It's in the vast our family, and I understand this is negative, 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 okay, so I can remember. All I can say is, Hicks and Lola are good friends. They are now friends. Yeah. Back to the following day, we started our descent to the volcano on East Lake, all before the Great Valley of the Great Valley of Pologona. Turns out the wonderful ride, clear early, amber sunshine, well eager my private focus of the newsfeed enabled us to bear the propagation of growth as we slipped across the streams or spared by river walks. Had no unholy ones were offered nevertheless at the study by the University of he relate to Ita's plan of Italy, the capacity found out the limit was absolutely persistent. Bubble in for the street after several hours in a contact led us away to the road as the path where vintage folk might as well feel that way. To the right of the road and right, the chap opens the tires. Our boat broke us suddenly today. How does had to go in a human saddle to give assistance where we spent 3 days drive and a small cabin in the house. Each of the houses required understand and they choose a book and other film and came to think of the recipe of the places. Kevin Augustine handled creative means and started the building of the prison for the editor for Paul, even they felt like those people waited for the century have not seen since. He saw the body music of the nation widely gave way to discontinued steady rhythm woven into the same place, which gave them the appearance that they stood side by side. Italy would have cobblestone and had inlet with bottle leather washes from wood bark, not worn. Each place should be more translated as popcorn, white water, and now we're movie from the deep gathered on the lawn. Most respectfully last, we had signal by the city, one boat was coming up. What a force of the first time. It seems to be Dick that decided to be the translator. A little dinosaur. Whoa. You can say whoa, guys. Say whoa down the mountain. Whew. From the height first when he gazing down into the water, I wondered how I might make the plunge. Most of the objects first to his head. The skybox appeared from above they pushed to the other region. I saw they were flying vessels, so they were supposed to be there. But our flat in the steer direction, the flat over top of rock, the hubble at the very moment, the sun of the earth from the impact of the water's path, the state of the sunlight, fluidly buckling, the brightest waters, baffled, all of it, I took sometimes looking for the night, and go close to my eyes. Oh, yeah, the deer, that old water, our flight gave us clear vision of the city. Its great dome, which was moved to obsolete in desperate circumstance the very map I contemplated. The map made for us and confused. The landmass being all together in the jungle, the city still is top of off and different. Instead of my song professional now colorful crowd which runs away from some Sailor Mike showed that strangers didn't give us a moment. We go and waited that I had a stand along the quarter, which was just before I first got back to the saw me, the atmosphere of war, the museum full of people that I go to after the represent somewhere. Necessity, succeeding. Just a soft yellow gold or a blue curtain red, a pink ball for the blood, and a small bird like with the quality of the program and time when we stayed in hospitality and inside of the business town where the thunder, the water, there was a steady background. Today one the summit was a sea seven, less than several decks she said from the time I met him he shows me his impression. Wait, nothing comes right after later, go watch a break and do I'm stopping. Pardon me. Uh, Sorry, I'm a little groggy today. The watch was the very one I had used to play back orchard to go the man, they could have to do the country with the you up the west. Keep on moving straight line. You had better keep it. You were in the breaded with your time circle. Your friend was a cycle. Paid work. After this, you by Geo Mendicalis. And then circle movement of the friend. That's what you have. The step is outside here and spiral. Oh yes, they are model culture. Something. It's a won't you come with me and or do first? I want to let's forget harder. I need to because my mind has been stressed with all the words my dear mother, who has stressed me to no end. However, I do love her. I just feel like I need the rest. So, part two will come, I promise, my dear friends. So, all of you relax and enjoy your time. Toodles, my friends. Hey guys, it seems to me that in my latest video of reading these stories, you guys can't hear my stories, right? I'm very sorry. But for the first part of my reading, you'll have to put your volume up high. As a matter of fact, for my Christmas reading, if you want to hear my story about um, Ivy and, you have to look your volume high. Same thing with Ninja Turtles, Batman special, and for the Jack Frost special. I'm afraid you'll have to make your volume high for those videos and for part one of this video too, actually. I'm sorry. For my rest of the videos, I won't be in on a bit. I'll be reading from this part. Now, we passed through another door, entered a chamber inside the spiritic dome, a cracked wooden device, powered by water, turned a gigantic stone pillar and revolved as a mechanized Jim climbing up the spiral edge, reading with its sensitive fingers a series of notches, engravings, and intermittent colored flags would rise and whistle, would sound the well, pebble, would drop down on the bass. What hour it is, I asked, reading instructions from my cup watch. Milky took a step back. Time for King Chrysaorus to house. Time planned the millers
And the Mongolia budged open. Professor Denton, I'm afraid you're perished in thinking time is numbers. You think of meaningless until it's time. Weeks, hours, minutes, based on what movement of forward planet, of what use this to us is that why not pay attention to the piece of 30-year life cycle, bamboo, Gautizen, or the extreme and medical cycle of paramistic. The whole world, the whole earth has heartbeats. He paused, swung his tail from side to side, and responded when something happened too slow for you to notice. If you sit quiet and still, you can hear the gentle down mountains stretching upward of trees and pushing forward planets, indeed the wearing away of this very waterfall. Surely not, yes indeed. Every 100 years or so, we must divide the Pololongo River and rebuild the cliff beneath the sea. The lug reached for his claws and hands for small silver. I'm just read look at the picture. Reach for his clawed hand for a small silver and plead, you will soon become a dino prince. And when you do, you will measure your life in a different way. Then this will be useful. I hang open and saw a pocket version of a great spiral book. Wow. This is what the clock looks like, people. I kind of like it this way anyway. I don't like reading from afar. I like reading from my chair. From this chair. Let's see. The common street game in the waterfall city is a one-sided top with markings that say take it all or nothing, and entertain the kids. It's a game that lets them win points. If they get the right mark, they have to get gold. But if they get the wrong mark, they have to give their gold to the winner. They like gambling. Jungle Morn can be heard above and on the falls. A dragon one reminds me of a horn from a book I read once. This book's getting really good. Dixon showed us the library. A curious gentleman who called himself Nullable greeted us at the door. His eyes twinkled and learned to read, asking, "We use scrolls instead of books. Dinosaurs don't like to fumble with large turn pages." A groan toward the air. The Dinotopia craned his head and peered at us. Our host smiled. This entire of the chef's library. Perhaps he will show you his scroll reading machine. Another growled and the machine rattled alive and did the stained trademarks of the air and cold. The dinosaurs do their best at thinking when their feet are moving. It comes from their ancestry. The early dinopantho dinosaurs left footprints and measures of steam banks and directions, written warnings, poems, even jokes and riddles. If you were a young dinosaur, Nibble went on, twitching the eyebrow, you would learn to write in sandbox. But instead, we got presented will of oyster no. After he very actively experimented in a volcano with a hatchery, Will disliked the idea of being shut in Moshy's scroll. But as he said to me privately, I can stand among the studying as long as he did to me the skybox saddle. In short, they use claw marks as letters to write their messages, and they don't use books really. They just use these. See the letters? Well, we started learning Dinopadian alphabetical, opened by Bis. Nobody scored me toward the library. From outside the building toward entire cities, inside the corridor, reading room more grimly with honeycomb, self scroll in each room. There's a fireplace, dreading, and a constant battle to keep the scrolls right. A waterfall is a nasty place for a library, says the poke in a log while I scan south with eager eyes forgetting what I came here to find. But conversation, this is the vast storehouse of ideas, the library of Alexandria, where I've seen honey collection, which collected only a few short million of human wisdom. Dinosaurs have much and argued, dreamed of reason for 10 million years. Watching all these things, Tom, I managed to translate just a few titles. Song of the Sea Turtles, How to Make Gold, Quadratic Poems, Lessons from the Bee Dance, The Care of Tech, The Teaching of Humans, Purple Modern Mechanics, Combination of Helpful Fungus, Masterpiece of Termite Engineering. How fascinating. Actually, more dino pin writing is not even copied on the scroll. The hazard's ideal gloss of duty and claims that bad jokes are written as a sandbox, but they're easily erased three-toed answer. My dance old clear footsteps. At Neba's struggles, I climbed the pyramids and loomed about North in the corner of the waterfall, and assessed the top of the tables that translate as fallen. Code of dinosaurs surviving all none, who as raindrops raise the sea. Weapons are enemies, even their owners. Give more, take less. Others first, self last. Avoid, listen, learn. One do things at times. Seeing every day, exercise imaginable. To live, don't leave to eat. Don't takes missing. I heard a flutter behind me as I finished sketching. It was midnight. You probably wondered what was last night. The stone was broken when we discovered it, so we can only guess. I believe the last one we find only a human, no keen back. Yabu is mine information matters. Dancer plans. I haven't felt free to ask him about his age. He cocked his eyes at me. Well now, how old do you think I am? I shy by 50 years. 120. Actually 127. We are very long lived, at least by your standards. Become hers. Perhaps we eat. We may work in hand. I am thinking, of course, how it not hurt the good man's been the same, so every day, the main meal, Nova and I meet to explore a new corner of the city. We have wandered past canals, fountains, moments in schools, gardens and observatories, factories and theater, and all woven into a watery labyrinth of stone that would shame even Vincent. I can't imagine, I said afternoon after a long sight. How could it be possible for such a small island to support enough? And I can't imagine how all these different people and dinosaurs can possibly get along without quarreling. Oh, it is possible, said Supplicus Flamenco, but only if you do imagine it. February 8th, 1864. Well, and I have dropped an anchor here in Washington. We have been here for 6 months, and have discovered new things every day. Perhaps we are enchanted by the mist, or we are beguiled by the siren song of intoned life. Noble tells me that I will be expected to teach a course out of world science and development. Read, study, teaching. I doubt there will be much time for my new book. March 17, 1865. A year and a half that I'm at Century Glen. I have become something of a favorite in the library. I've spent much time carrying updated reports of previous shipwreck and sailors about the outer world. The engine studied my dilemmas with the fullest respect, and rarely carried my design into the actual sewing machine, however, was met with enthusiastic acclaim. This is what the canals and buildings look like. Isn't it beautiful? I apologize I didn't read that well with those other books. But this time I will read in this chair. That's I don't want to make any mistakes anymore. I'm gonna do a dolphins. Yes. Uh, Dolphins are playing with the people. It's so cute. Here, I'll show you. It's like a water park. Oh, sorry, my needle and thread. Sorry with all the interruptions. April 14th, 1865. I have at least found a set of leaden charts, both golden minted by Torque. They are primitive as they're useless. Indeed, Niebuhr says that they are basically replicative myth of a heavily underworld sacred dinosaur, custody rather to understand dinosaurs, curiosities rather than a sounds a puzzle I would like to have solved, even though I have lost all my desires to leave. Myths of dinosaurs look like the humans are allowed to play with the dolphins. There's even a water ride. That is so cool. Whenever I grew weary from reading scroll exploring the life pattern, Lower City, I mounted the highest place of the western sector and sat beneath a lion statue where two large saber-toothed ancient beasts carved from the red granite. The thunder mist, Biggs told me the legend. At one time the fallen water had no voice and was silent as cloud. When the lions first erred and hours they were crept in time, and their bare rock there became waterlogged. Their walls awoke the water from both entire and on. Could these still be sessilines alive on the island? Sometimes they talk about the hidden mountain, the colder river where great rate of prehistoric mammals is said to thrive. This did have like meat eaters, yes, but not lions in the lowland. Correct. When we set out to cross rainy beds, we still have to be careful. And now time has come, the dangers have become living family legends that we have been living since moving here from Boston. We have been scurrying about, packing skulls, ink in heaven, and the moon's quality a strong smelling small eagle. They are preparing for the annual journey with the Hobbit convent near Treetown. Those studies are complete. He and I are accompanying them in the lead of our danger. It may be the only opportunity this year for us to make the trip to Treetown. He can hardly connect his excitement, though I still sorry to leave what a good friend that we have made. Us preparing, and a full week was required. I spent 2 weeks simply fascinated with the still back joints of the overlapping plate of the armor for the Apatosaurus. Her name is Tori Kikading, and she bared her added burdens with given resin by mid-morning day of departure, sharp-spined Stegosaurus. As Gordon had erred, I protest the best that Paul and I were nearly or not worse not to have weapons. Ours is invincible. Not to challenge Tyrannosaurus Rex is not evil, only hungry by nature, but no one loves our society. No stomach for green food. That's why we carry fists. I did not find this at all reasonable. The conflict lurched in motion with slow walking but Kim John Bridge. My bridge has been made to fasten his own law. Only so that after we crossed over corn steps, not entirely with the long past midday. More through the grove aloft the Libya Donidon tree, heavily damaged by gigantic strength of a troop of a heavily damaged by gigantic strength of troops. A creature that must have been passed by recently. Suddenly Cora lifted her head to the level of treetops and fixed her gaze forward and wheeled around, which glanced us to our seats, so that her whip-like tail could sweep the pavement of the ground, so an angry cattail was swept like the grass. The same moment, Snorton bellowed, was a stegosaurus guard back down, circle round, unprotected quarter, and prison to the dark wall of the jungle, fearsome roll of horns. Here are T-Rexes. Unfortunately, the T-Rexes cannot live where they live, so basically they're like savages. And everyone else, let's see, with a heavy bounding gait, we shook the ground. Tyrannosaurus Rex broke into a full sunlight, close upon our circle, pausing every breath, hungrily opened his terrifying jaws. Ah! Bix told Will to stand ready to cut free of the basket of fish. I tried to question the French script. Into my heart, Bix leaped down from her perch and settled on the back of a stegosaurus, where the clipper detector directed. I watched as he addressed the creature by name and chatted with Scott, seemed momentarily confused. I can only compare her native bravitude to what squirrels do nuts had fallen to the feet. Each time a rising rumble of craft and jaws were plunged through my bursted, Bix signaled to Will to start cutting loose of the butt of the basket. One by one, the broken open with thud and then hit the ground, while we edged away, leaving the creature to gorge. I helped Biss back to the saddle. Biss, what on earth did you say? We made a deal. I told him we could have our snack if he promised to leave alone the herd of definitions I was coming through tomorrow, except that this Molly's characteristics as a meat tack. I I see. Why is she an ambassador? Seems to me has defective best against the clear dangers, no matter what this claims the contract. For the next 6 days, our exit from the rainy basin was confounded by the lack of trade and a series of difficult rivers crossing. The channel seems to be constantly changing. At last, the Covenant's activity's destination, Solemn Moon, Herdsburg, in the grip of the jungle, at the base of the Backbone Mountains, strange singly or in groups, people erred a, a a company of dinosaurs, who, having rid themselves of armor, baggage, ducking under the arch and entering the sacred space within. Yeah, yeah. Bix is well known here, and was greeted by all in respects, and she has been diagnosed as a poetry guide who made me realize how important the dance would consider the era of new humans into society. As a particular elder at Triceratops, with a broken horn roast address assumed the hard now gathered roast address assemble, now the footprints read, our time spent alongside the sandbox and the waterfall city was not in vain, yet little did to help us follow broken horn's quantity forest farm backward. He carved a high arc with his nose horn weasel script padded with great urgency. He dropped his beak, lifted the frail bark, and spun in a circle, spun side to side, script tall. Will oblige me, father. They want us for something. I looked about. All eyes were upon us. Step forward. You have you have just been announced. We would like to make some introductions, said Vic. Oh my god. We men turned each so-called covenant partner. Each parent of human and dinosaur represents a different biology range. Together, their lifetime devoted to monitoring living conditions within terrorized reporting annual. This confidence based on the advice to help the group to return home to survive the planet and planet protected. Alfred Alid Alidas. Orlo and Lightwing, a skybax responsible for watching weather, rainforest, pollen, dust. Forest. Bacon and Fiddlehead, a Chasmosaurus, are an area of great responsibility to renew and help woodlands and jungles. Apine, Moina, and Big Tusk, one of the mammoths from the Forbidden Mountains. They carry glaciers, thunders, high metals, and supplevents. For the desert land, there's Dorthist, a Utabalayosho sector, 5 Mother Sanu, master of sand, earths, and mega management, freshwater land. Mongolia, and a paddlefoot, the Mosasaurus, in charge of the swamps, lakes, rivers. In Savannah, Draco, and high jump, a Struthiminus, range open countries and looks for grasses and reeds with industry soils. Lastly, for the beach lands and bays, they are charged as last beach and bays. They are charged of the dolphins who obviously could not be present. I was deeply impressed by the care and content. Each sector displayed a whole. I'm glad I time to study Denovan's flora and the fauna. Wash, which is ooh, it had actually been introduced to Ula, the head of a skybase trainer from Canyon City. These are the representatives of Dinotopia. Of Dinotopolis. All unique and own individual, like a council, like a big group of people. Make sure that, onward next part. Ugh, water needed that. Fetch after. Ugh, I am getting tired again, my friends. I will continue on reading the final part later. See you all. I'm back again to read. After the let's see, conference ended, we continued north all the way to the Backbone Mountains. Will pestered Biggs with questions about Canyon City. He had learned that his parents lived near there and the fact that she was pleased to talk about her family. I could quite save my breath for a 3-hour climb. Archie would like to meet her kin. They had grown very fond of Bix. Heavenly, we drew her to Treetown. The village pursuit the camp and piece of oak forest with a fine view of deep lakes, through the field, barns, and botany gardens. With a short walk, Bix departed for one of the barns to hear the latest gossip. He scented ladder, who greeted him by north, a matriarch of the tree town. She soon involved us in busy activities support we hosted. yams to be washed, rope work to be mended. However, not before we enjoyed ribbon snacks of fried millet cakes and syrup, along with fruit and cold berry juice, followed by rapid tour of the main trees. Nora climbed up and down the ladder without a thought. To tell the truth, I was the only people I had sit down to mend a book. A family of brontosaurs lighted up from the valley before receiving the daily. As the day went north, was how tired were, and she showed us a sleeping arrangement with one for the boys' trees, and the big center one that fed us a bowl of soup, while telling us the latest evening bell signal, all right, takes up the fire. Put the light and retired, and was asleep before the bell rang. This is Nora and Treeland, of course. Here's more. Isn't it beautiful? I can never read this right. A few treetops from my sleeping basket. The trumpets all came from the forest below. Here we go. I had scarcely pulled on my socks the first morning she tucked up. Well, I was breathlessly flushing enthusiasm. He telling me that his friend Sil- Sil- Sylvia of the hatchery is among the girls staying here. I'm feeling my age. I have only survived the season, but Will seems to have acquired already with every twig and sign to save the village, as well as every inhabitant. Well, I simply take my time while exploring. The past several days have seen wild changes with Will. He met two boys from the eastern city called Shandia. They claimed to be expert rope swimmers and dared him to take a quick part in dangerous stunt. Unseen by Nora, who was busy about the large and effect curfew bell, and the boys and girls retired to their separate quarters, crept to his basket, while the boys from the tennis steadily climbed into the girls' tree. Here, in sea of transverse wrecked girls with a few well-cleaned spins of sleeping baskets, they followed the girls were screaming. The following day, when Nora approached the clearing her throat, tapping the balcony railing with a wooden spoon, I braced myself from scolding as she turned to Will and said, "Young Mr. Denton, let us see that this does not happen again. May I ask that tonight you spend the night in the dinosaur's barn. Try playing a dinosaur's dare. Now get to breakfast." Once Will was out of here, Nora turned to me some embarrassment. "Don't worry about him, Mr. Denton. He's a lively boy, no good look from it. But he needs to keep the company of dinosaurs." Nora's granddaughter, Millicent's sister, once she was five. Will spent an uneasy night among the giants. He reported to me that he slept little. Between the heavy steps on the feet, the weasel and the whistling noises, Bigfoot told us that his helped them grind their food. At the point, Will opened his eyes to see a head large as a wheelbarrow pulled down from the feet above him. The head swung up and vanished in darkness and red. His dreams were walking trees and mountains that could inhale and inhale. As a result, Will's behavior had improved, and he seemed to be keeping himself in a big rough task. I have lately had mainly confidence with Sylvia. We renewed our memories of the days at the hatchery. Citizens declared surely the clues of the rejecting us with the old dinosaurs, she and Will seem to be good influence on each other. These days are full of what they must learn about their minds. After I completed my daily chores for Nora, I explored the regiment and keep up the journey in field notes. They were really different classes of 4 in height, must be at least about 5,200 feet to elevation. I prefer to say 130 each neck, being until approximately 40 feet. I have so far recognized the great trees of the redundant dodon, the enormous various delicate ferns, tiny rocks, violet, and more twinkling lilies, cold night, and hot sunny days. I have paradise. One morning, Nora cheerfully said to me, "Arthur, it's time for you to have some company of your own remembrance. Take the name with you." Leah is her 5-year-old granddaughter, and Kale, the size voice, will accompany her. As we tore into the thicket of the brambles, Maria was dropping a single tiny shoot in the mid vegetation. "My, how you've grown! What a buzzard stranger here." I soon discovered that she was probably an extra in the sea, an encyclopedia of plants. Moreover, probably enjoying her role as a teacher. I asked where she had learned so much about her blue people. From Grandma, she explained, helping gather her. Well, she remarked the child, and I'm taken in with her, and I would like to say that she cares to be with me, and I could not have found a better teacher. Mellis has free will open hands to me, love of nature, and joy of knowledge, gaining carefully, wandering out the door, which as a boy made me become as a scientist. It's a rare species known to Dinotopia, related to common birdhawk, genus of the Old and New World, deep-rooted, growing to heights of the 6 feet. It bears purple flowers with hooked bristles. A tin food of the flowers are used as medicine healings, especially the plumage, strong wind, and membranes. Among the profound roots gathered, dried parents and lifting leaves. Used in water to spring near bring been through and offered to humans as they have reached the 24 summers. A claim often made in the heat change the body's chemical acid to reveal the aging process, though a human can approach even exhaust the long lifespan of dinosaurs known to live beyond 20 to 1,500 years, 1,000 years. He made a small little man from Canopy who claimed to be Forrest Hens, born in Holland in the year of 1618, to have been the first four crewmen separated from Dutch East India Sea. Spoke to the familiar about the old pepperport of the port of Java. However, unique reading keeps that I could not leave this as a story. Whether or not it claims true, I cannot say nevertheless medical man. As a scientist interested in medicine such long terms, I now make a habit of drinking the tea of long, longevity. This is obviously the herb. Its new bud is infused with back and water from all cities to binoculars. Corn and wheat are very unknown, and still they call varieties of unfamiliar grains, include varieties of plantain. The tiny seeds are dried at stem and eaten. The boys mash round the floor down, with the whole plant part of many different purposes, and worshipping as a source of life. After the subsequent Spain, 1582, two men named Cooks as a distinguished traveling above the San Pedro, when his ship was wrecked, he was rescued by dolphins, which alone has sea through seas. Safety sealed coconut shell. The plants have flourished under dinosaurs ever since. Whose almost likeness is full of portraits of the said of dolphins, often seen painted in diner where appropriate place, a symbol of hope. This is how they do their laundry and everything all day, being fun. See, this is how they do their laundry, and this is what they do for fun up here. This book is really good. They swing and play laundry. It's amazing how they create this laundry machine. Looks like they make instruments out of these, like a xylophone, a thumb piano. I played that once, and a bamboo flute. Use instruments, performance. It's amazing. This one's really nice. Dinosaur. Listen. We have spent many weeks living with and studying the habit of dinosaurs. Soon the training period will come to an end, but Bix had particularly asked me to make these pictures to show how dinosaurs see the world through her eyes and evidence differently from what we see. Dinosaurs' eyes take the reader of the field and bend in the edge like it, and nothing gray than rather than that. See swim in perfect colors, moving molecules of the dancing colors we expect, as we would see strandscapes of the night, see sparkling lifescapes in the wood of the day with camera life. Some humans can see dinosaur visions. Bix explains in Arctic home children, but for the rest of us, we grow old and man is part of the brains cloud over the overflowing parts and drew away little by little glory days. See? Very pretty, huh? Take up the chairs and drums, each added fun. There's actually music notes. These music notes. I'll sing that at the very end. It seems to be that all the dinosaurs are treated equally among the humans. I'm just showing you pictures now because, well, take a little break. Now, at the end of train season, young people take part, dinosaur luddites, and the crown and content of which is a ring riding event each year of settlement of the troopers. The objects of the event captured the greatest number of rings in a proper colored banner strung across the track, replacing each of the four quadrangular islands with a loosely attracted to shreds of paper. Saddle holds two riders, young woman in the front, steer who touches the signal, young man standing in the back who pets as the ring ball. Together with the skill and strength of their steeds and the Dinosaurus, they make a trio. The human raid are selected by Nora to will King Pleasure, who is paired with Sylvia, his girlfriend. The two of them represented the hatchery sector of the entire northwest quadrant. Sylvia reported with the dinosaurs is going to be extremely important. Chris and the single nature of the Dianocheiriosaur. Imagine the ostrich growing 3 times an ostrich height, climb into the skin of an elephant, drive it into a river of bright pearl paint, and then prancing about with arrogance of a camel, while Sylvia and the other contestants spend their days practicing with a temporary mouse. Race day saw crowds crowding to the respite stadiums from the village around the deep lake, leaving not a single child in the doorway, not a single wearing closet, not a single hat on the peg. After many hours, feasting and dancing, a long trumpet call for the edge of the forest brought to silent attention, and all of a sudden the crash of everything woke them into the freezing excitement. A small, Demorphodon, flying ahead to set up attack, peering around the great ring. Just ahead of the run giant Aspire, first I tried to sketch, and I found myself yelling encouragement, leaping up and down along with the screaming spectators. Will and Sylvia rounded the track once and twice, 3 times, sometimes missing the ring with a pole, sometimes catching it until one connected was struck against pollution of the run and had 3 possessions, no less than 4 the head. And then most of the teams, my son's team was tremendous. Many ants laughed my shoulder, congratulating many long-necked dancers swung their heads toward me in gesture of appropriation. A few have done nothing, in fact, to contribute to the victory. I was irrelevant, proud of happy celebrating. Here, I'll show you the detail. I know this is the longest story time I've ever done. To a man who cannot fly, Kang City, nearby Skybot Brooklyn, known as the Petrio, is like a wharf to a man without a boat. I had hoped to find Skyback line after running Venice with dashing two guys ready to take him aloft, but only one rider could fit a tiny special saddle, and the riders must know his mount better than the factory knows his bird. But to earthbound traveling, many wondered within the scope and their could stay upright. I just have returned, for instance, from the fine countries and singing the Edemontosaurus, who used the ecto effect natural amethyst, amphithesis, the amphitheater, to produce something that's no doubt shelled, but functioning by the renesmate bark pop. Many of the apartments are carved into solid stone or built up from brick nesting under rock ledge. The windows are small, covered with paper rather than glass. Inside the wall of the human dwell, and painting the flesh in the front.
Wildflowers in their style, the village grew cotton, pepper, squash, one narrow ledge of the can, but Dolph dawned layer by layer to the bottom of 145 necks, or 800 feet. In vertical distance, the Yamil River parallel appears a mere twisted brown thread as the change in afternoon sun brings a new area to the bold moon. I fancy I've seen best safely rock. Well, I must find a way to investigate. Each morning after dawn, like many of the dinosaurs, I have seen them appear at 9 p.m. trends. They will probably welcome along watch Walu had instruction of the new pirate. Olu, the student fire, resembled the legend beneath the glowing of the skyback wind. The creatures peered in stress and suffered in embers, folded and unfolded wind, and finally perched upwardly. Please keep in mind that this is a creature, not a dinosaur. It does not understand that you humans are social language. In ancient days, the two largest plesiosaurs, or Perdiodon, is the Questacata, the skyback's paved way. The skybox shook to height above the earth and showed the rainbow as a sign of the Paradon. The man in the canyon, gatekeeper of the world beneath, both her and his will to play carefully. But you must honor the fact that those old brothers who have been put together. And your skyback do not fly beyond the surface inside the lower canyon or cannot be crushed. In his coming day, Will and his fellow farmers began to short excursion down the canyon, discovered it true from orange word as the stone sentence each skyback would wheel around like a Baltimore Clipper coming about returning to a company space. What was the secret business of the can? Although spoke of the word beneath. If they were an actual place, could they be any secondness to those old charts of Water Wall Street? And I felt interested and curious about the mystery. But during our travels, the dinotopia, we had found people straightforward, general, and honest to acquire, had no secret fears, no trouble. Yet direct questions about the sentinels were uneasy snug, Benson remarked, inquiring, reading beyond the others. And for once, Bix was no hope. She avoided direct questions. It seems I would have to find out myself. Question even Bix didn't know. This is the most longest book I ever read. And part two. Part three, technically. Olu had warned only against flyers being sentinels, had explored irregularly on foot. Indeed, but so long ago no one really remembered people seemed did not like the violent and taboo out of respect for the Sorasans. Would they be objections to me taking a look at the native sites? No indeed, but their tone was doubtful. If I chose to go, that was my direction, my decision to make. While I spoke long to the knight about the exploration, to my amusement he disproved my poking around. But he agreed to come part ways, at least the bottom canyon. Desperate surveyor, strong mind opportunities, we approving of the quotation, dry food, light blankets, oiled wrapped newspaper, and well, offer to keep the journal up to date. Of course, I would need to make my own notes. Although my old coat and reinforced my foot, we limited very journey. We descended the cliff, the old trail that was still in use. We stopped by the water as we were obliged to wade and camp across the south. We reached the confluence of the ancient gorge, some 10 below Canyon City made camp. Here, trampoline green white water mingled with the brown of the amber the fire hydrant and mud. Not a naturally road, but as if something had rubbled in the polished surface. Next day we followed the pathway rebel beyond, and around turned the river. We came upon an extraordinary sight, mountains as the Egyptian in charge, along with the brothers, struggled back, first meeting beyond.
Human dancers, fancy we drum. I think that's enough. Don't worry, I'll do part. I don't know how many parts I'm doing exactly. I really don't. I fold the page. Right after dinner, I'll continue. See. I'm back, everybody. Let's get back to reading. And we continue further downstream. Even before we saw predators, we expected them. The smell of death hung heavily in the air. The body of dead dinosaurs played above us, being scalded by the bones. Scavengers, the pterodons did not attack us, but flew up, alarmed, aggravated by the top isolation above, where you follow our progress on a sort of interest. There was no horror for us. For the landscape of decades, it was hushed somber, clearly a holy place for the great creatures, who, in their last day, would come here by choice to reveal their sacred sculptures to give their flesh for the renewed life. A deep rumble ahead of the Junal, as forward to find a vast circulation opening into which the water, the Amu River, plunged, a broad spiral pathway far from the rock of the ancient clod, laid down where the but at the point, Will thought he should go no further. Wait here, Will. I'm going down here to have a look. I descended the slope's edge 100 feet to find the river had created a deep channel to the earth, surrounded by voltage of rock, and flanked by safe water blasts of fresh second air cooling my face. I pushed forward. Now I could see a strange luminescence, a, a photosynthesis that is swarmed among growing plants, mosses, and birds, and the shrubs glowing, growing, with white profound. Among them was Ter- Tecer- the Terax clum officin, which I knew to be edible. I submitted that I lacked nothing to submit to me so much longer journey. I scrambled back to surface to find Will looking upward. High above, in a small path, the sky remained available but surrounding coatings of stone. His skyback was descending, solely concerned for Will, for daring to enter the hollow territory of the Paragon. This is a chance of a lifetime for me, I said to Will. In the doorway to a new world, I reasonably assured him that I had implied permanent to return in a few weeks. Thank him again for undertaking to keep the journal, despite the need demanded his time. I am poor at experiences that pride I feel, my boy. Good luck with your training, I said as he parted. I watched him swoop on over the rush wing, then I turned to send to the earth. The busy weeks have passed. As I write for the first time in this book, I can almost feel my father beside me. Our train is hard. Lying in the shadow made me shoulders and neck really hurt. Circe, as my advisor independent, she would not be controlled. After she and her rulers, I often spend every evening with Sylvia. They fell in love, I think. And Bix. Sometimes at Bix home, Sylvia won't be controlled either, said Bix. I don't know what she means. I'm not trying to control Sylvia. Only Circe. Anyway, no one could control Sylvia. Look how she talks to my father when she went off. I wonder what he is now. Base says the caves are part of a huge network. No one goes down there now, but it once sheltered all island south. Vic says that somewhere in the canyon, the lost is cliff. Long ago, before humans started coming, the sky was black with dust and gold. Very cold. Dinosaurs collect seeds and spores, insects, and everything. Stick themselves in a whole lot underground. Some of something like Noah's Ark. Later, when the air got clean again, everything came back to the surface. The same ramp that my father went down was the one dinosaur they used came up. The dinosaurs traveled past the sentinels to die because it felt like coming home. It seemed a month since it's been a month since my father left. How could it be a month? I felt I understand Circe better. She now lets me treat her wings like bird dog medicine. Yesterday we practiced loud lunging and landing with a strong headwind. Besides the flying, there is a whole lot studying clouds and wind. At least I'm better at studying than Sylvia is. Vic says if my father coming out and me, he ought to be back soon. Alua has been working with me, changing the habit I've learned with horses. Stop steering, he yelled. Sylvia's lucky. She never learned bad habits. I asked her yet today, and we might be considering for apprenticeship. Cersei and Nimble will tell you when you're ready. You need to win their respect. You cannot ask them to carry you aloft until you have feel for what is taken to climb. You have shown the heavy weight on your back. You have shown them you are not tired to the earth. How can I do that? I can't fly. You can climb. You got feet. Can you carry a backpack? Mountains with this change. Up there at the top, you'll find an old building called the Tentacle of the Sky. Other writers have made the climb, but you would be the first dolphin but they should climb beside you. You might need her help. Our trip, but think of Cersei and Nimbo. We were in full partnership. Big spring wind we invited her along. No, 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 not for me. This is for you. I am no mountain climber. Besides, I have some family business to attend to. Sorry, I've been showing you pictures, but I just want to read this book now. Just remember, this is the book. Some week later, Sylvia and I left Kansas City, saying goodbye to our humans and starting new friends. One news showed us that my father returned and that he would somehow be taken care of. Salu and Nimble waited for us at the trail ahead. It was hard to leave them, especially when Cersei folded me in her wings. And as Sylvia and I left, they both stretched out their wings and slowed back like a wave of goodbye. Sylvia was crying. I couldn't put my arm around her because of the backpack. I held her hand as far as easy foothills with the forbidden mountain that was eating. Sometimes we met occasional traveler. Even this far as sea, there's a mountain worked for dinosaurs. Sylvia says, raise up on the sea creatures, such as the tretobite, the minotaurs, and the sea scorpion. I had to stop for a moment to check a message. Next part of the book. Ooh, here's a mammoth. He's woolly mammoth. You know, someday scientists will think about cloning them, you know. No, maybe they could be useful for winter, not for summer. Not in Florida. In a few days, the wild dinosaur road thin and replaced by footprints leading along the stream. We began to climb through the thickened wooden valley of the Silverfell, giving way to the door of the Rododendron. Sylvia found a minty brown creepers, which she collected and grew into a fine tea. Someday we had a bad time, so a giant pile of sharp boulders, some larger than a house, scattered on, sometimes separated from forming torrents. I was worried too about the saber-tooths, who I found with a straw sharp pole. Sylvia laughed. I didn't mind the pole came in handy for climbing. From the high, barren place, we were able to look down the canyon. It looked like a small scratch on the table. Once we thought we saw Searching Head fly off, watching us, but it might have been other skybacks. We reached out for our first goal in the village, shared by humans, large mammoths, giant ground sloths, and chippodons, and tomwood, by nature more restless, regular than dinosaurs. Fine, sympathetic as mammoths, a cousin of Big Tusk, offered to carry us as far as he could. Being familiar with the terrain, had a good footing. Even on ice, he found there were things with us that night. Sealing our shelter with the warmth of a great body, after the events she had turned back, we scaled the mountain on foot. With each ridge, we climbed the remote building. It seemed to float above, higher, disappear from time to time. By turn, we encountered each other, never complained. During the freezing night, we huddled together. At last, at the very end of a very long day, we reached the summit, resting our backpacks thankfully against the pounding stone. The cloud thickened, suffered out the final fucking sunlight above us bell raining down. We later learned a reason of the black tip. We sought for many minutes until our great relief, the first one faced and seven entered our caravan. A rope ladder dropped to the snow beside us. After being greeted, we were later strained to our host, who lost no time referring with us a hot buttered tea with a clay cup, blanket woven of fur. The first we have seen a dinotopia. Strong automatic increase. All the combines to lure us and exhausted, dreamless. Next morning, after simple breakfast, we toured the old factory and learned some history. Far as we were from dinosaurs, we felt their goodwill for a magnificent building with their idea. A thrill, built it by the the trilobites. The dinosaurs realized they certainly knew climbers would benefit from being isolated. Some people needed to be private for a time, proof and reminder of all they had lost, until they were ready to take a new life. Nothing could be more removed from this place. Since no trail can be maintained, we suffered accompanied by floating balloons, a floated boat called sky galleys. Living at the top of the mountain has begun the care. A curious spell over me, and dawn sun other options from the balcony cleared mountains. I can transport the boat, great rivers, the Alamo and the Pologongo. I can even see a tiny grain of white that must be Waterfall City. Later that night, the wind is howling, but the cold stone outside. Sometime venturing down the map room, house in the belly of the building, the great light. They found a chart showing the Jason cave and the world beneath. Apparently, there are many illumination passages and chambers, several porches, through which my father might exit. After knowing him, I realized he would not stop until he was satisfied with his curiosity. I've told Edward about his journey, and he seems to sense the turn of my thoughts. You will find your father again, but neither of you will be the same, I pressed him to explain. Each person is ever to die in a apocalypse becomes reborn, and the birth is different for each individual. Your father will be born from the earth. You will be born from the sky. Sylvia agreed with me. I is a very aged man. I hesitated to be late, but she teased me until I did. I said, I have long given my measurements of years, as I told you, young friend. Seven mysterious gallery leaped down the other keepers of the temple. I have often listened to their laughter as she studied the incognito waving through the first shed of mammoths. Both of us helped with the chores, even if we were together most of the time. She often seemed lost in her own thoughts. She's still a mystery to me. A great deal has happened since writing the above. One morning, our routine was interrupted by a visitor who sat down and handed us. Look through there. Choose just one to return to me. Abdullah considered each image bridge, a house, a fist, a flame, a moon, cloud, flower, trilobite. I put the cloud card into his waiting hands, and just as Cecilia gave to him. Our eyes met. They both pulled up the card. Twin clouds. We both knew at once this was a turning point. A big sky galleon appeared from afar, where they had drifted to the horizon. By the time we packed and said goodbye, it loomed overhead, secured by a dragon laying a bunzo ring, as whence is abundant cargo. Evic turned to us and smiled. Breathe, breathe, he says. Fly high, seek peace, then get into the letter. We followed the galley, man and house, and soon the pig dropped away as we float away. This is the snowy mountains. Oh, right here. Phew, I'm almost there to the edge, guys. Now, at first there was a drifting, like a leaf, like a lazy river, flowing slowly as the sun altered it, warming each side of the gas environment, until we began to pedal, all with silence and serene. A pair of gliding men took turns in squeaking the pedals with motion along. The galleyman knows Kansas City well, but one retired skyback rider was pleased to carry us as far as they could. But the sea and the clouds under us was beginning to look roughly underfoot. By the fourth hour we struck upon a hot drift. We east and face up the forbidden mountain. We noticed that the world was sinking even further away from the sky above the dark deep blue. But they were so thin, we were painted. The tug on the red rope released the precious alien, and we dropped so well. And the next descent, it was solemn and kind of variation of quite unlike the wild screaming of a typhoon that wrecked our ship. When we stopped pedaling, the only sound was a soft groan, like Gondoli, a eerie whisper of the wind the mountain pass. Sorry, I mentioned, guys. I'm gonna take a shower after this, definitely. Poor Sylvia was in misery from swinging and spinning. I had her securely in my arms and soothed her, telling her that whatever happened, we would be together. In the fading light, we could see the rope work throttled, our damaging galleyman jettisoned everywhere they could. But still, the balloons scarcely had aloft. Still, at some point, each of us realized that we had lost all control. There was nothing left to do. Darkness overcame us, and oddly enough, I felt no fear. We were wrapped up in emotional radiation. She feared ourselves hard and but our aimless flight had each many more hours. There was no sense of movement direction. Sylvia, I even dozed off for time and woke to feel warm in air. Suddenly, Guyman shouted, but his words were lost in his unbounded jolt ended in a spinning crash. Luckily, final impact was a soft landing. It turned out to be a field of flowers. At the same time, after making sure no one was seriously injured, we curled up all on the ground, slept exhausted until the dawn woke us and revealed a saddening ship. In the doorway, we could see a large city on the horizon. Our pilot recognized instantly. It was Chilipoli, capable of the capital of Dinopolis. After eating what remained of our food, we set out. Even from a distant way, through the grand entrance gate, we could hear music and laughing. No one had been able to escort our crash. We simply joined the stream of people, a color band and entering the capital city. Sylvia took my arm and we drifted like dragonflies, carelessly by suddenly rattle of a drum beat, belled trumpets, squinted children running wild past us, long-tailed nannies, excited pursuit, that I knew there were some residents left in the solitary mountain tops. The sky tossed around and as we had expected. Sylvia moved beside me, and I felt great joy knowing that she had shared every step of the journey. My father once told me the world of Malak, that time skipper and keepers. The whole earth has a heartbeat. Now, for the first time, I sensed the pulse of life animated in all of us. Every creature, large and small. Presently, a woman appearing offered the city approached us, looking up at us. It's you, Sylvia and Will. Yes, you're right. I replied without we would have read it. Great Europeans, did you know? Of course not. Arthur and Bit said Aaron. That is that they left, or you've been missing them, or you've just missed them. They left Watersley a few days ago. 3 days trip by land, so they. My father and Bix? What were they doing here? They should have been in Kansas City. Well, I don't know about that. They were certainly here. They are heard by sea, popping right up in harbor. Most extraordinary vessel. Come, I'll show you. Bewildered, we followed our guide to the harbor. An odd, primarily craft was hoisted up. Glass stone, red hide coils, strip hangs, and steel and thin fitted routes together what happened to be an underwater vessel. It is intriguing, said he. Put together by Arthur, double dicks. I was amazed. I had no idea my father was so handy with machines. My father must have found a way out in the world beneath. Sylvia, I said briefly. The woman struggled immediately, saying the word or request our skybacks and permitted us to fly. While you're waiting for your skybacks, you join us for a parade. How lucky you have Era today. It's our festival to honor children and athletes. Here's the machine that Will's father invented. Quite impressive, isn't it? One of the fantabulous museum books. Actually, this is one of them. Welcome back. Here is the picture. Sorry about that last comment, but I accidentally pressed some buttons that now it's part 5. Hopefully, I'll be almost done reading, and I can relax for the rest of the day. Rather enjoying parade, Sylvia and I were content to watch, to see the spectators unfold as their dreams Sylvia, Sylvia has given a basket of violets and a tiara of daisy. I will see her as forever in my mind. Whatever happens in the future, I was not really certain of her feelings, but sure of my own. One thing I realized, our parents would think of us as both too young for conspiving. but at least we were going to share a life of skyward riding together. At last, Sherry Nimble Aaron, who had a great job, rejoiced, strapped into the saddle for now new flying outfits, and boy was certain of the badge of the princess. We were unrolled a note of boy. Congratulations, you don't need my permission. You have there, fly high, secret peaks. Looks like those guys can fly now with their pants, with their friends. Cirrus and nobles carried us to land before platform of the waterfall city. We stood for a moment, through the field again, the cascade of thunder of the water. Before long, big shouted, Wiccan exclaimed. Sylvia kneeled down. Why didn't you tell us you were going in after Arthur? I didn't want to make you worry. You had your own work to do. I thought Arthur might be needed some assistance. But for a dinosaur going to the world beneath, wasn't that breaking your own customs? I said, we ambassadors have freedom to go wherever we can be for service. Now come, there's someone who wants to see you. She took us to the library. The last we found my father, scented eagle of the hundreds of Gerotheus and historians. He broke up as soon as he saw me, rushed over me, and hugged me for the first time since I was a little boy. When I got my breath back, I said, I'm told you just erred. What happened down there? Were you in danger? Well, ran away, my boy in the way, but oh well. Oh well, you wouldn't believe the wonders of seeing fantastic discoveries. He put his arm around something. But the truth is, I've never in all my life been so glad to see any people. Two people. I have read Will's notes, and I smiled at the transformation they revealed. When I left him, he was a boy. He entered the library door a young man. Seeing Will and Sylvia both wearing the uniform Skyback's riders filled me with like a father's pride. Well, he had the following brow of the square shoulders of a man of purpose, and from the little letter from exchange, Will and Sylvia had become good friends who respected and loved each other. Have I changed as well? Perhaps my friend from the dear old world who left so long ago. What of the Boston? Those fellows surely would wag their heads at me, but I wondered if I shall ever see the face again. No matter. How old life is richly rewarded, I am grateful to it. But here in Dinotopia, my eyes have been opened to a wonder of a new world. Seeing with fresh eyes through German in the basement, I have found enormous enthusiastic, filled with many minds. Nubu has given me a symbol studied over, looking at the fallen homes of my spiral pocket watch. My plans and pencils on my maps, my designs, most of my recent file notes, which at a moment dare say, have been made under a difficult circumstance in the world beneath. There is a long lifetime of work to do here. I cannot start enough soon. The end. And that was the end of Ananopolis. It's a good story. Now, I will sing a song, but I'll be singing in my pony form. Right, Rose? See you guys. You'll talk to her next. Indeed, you're right there, my human pony portrait. I'll be singing a song from Dinotopia the books. Come forth in joy to greet the morning ships. Record travelers and our join all one. The great parade in the brightest feathers. Born come around the fountain cry. Tale of spring, let it silence wisdom from its shores reborn. Looked up to see the rosy banners fill our trees. Life's spirit guarded the invasion. At the sight of we will drink to cool the warren and write the diamond you promised when across the sky. I the wardrobe desert slow and spiral, breathe in deep sea peace, strip for question, water and endurance life. And I hope you enjoyed the video that I made, that I worked on it for I don't know how long, but that's how it goes. Enjoy more stories. I'm sorry how everything turned out to be so edited weirdly, but this is my first time. Well, actually, I can edit, but not sound. I'm still learning that. So until the next time you see us, goodbye from me and my human self. And have a wonderful night. You blessed see what's right. I know too little, but I know it's too much. See you guys.